So today we taught again at Ntafufu Senior Secondary School, and I've come to realise that overall it's not actually all about the education, that there's so many little things that we don't actually necessarily appreciate. Like it was pouring with rain today, and we came to realise that a lot of the students have to walk through hours and hours to get to school, like really long distances, whereas we just can get a free bus pass and all this and just take the bus really quickly to school. And also other things like the uniform, they were wearing like really thin clothes and we were complaining because of I had 2 jumpers on and a jacket and I was still complaining, and it just makes you realise that how kind of lucky we are and how much we take it for granted in England.
Okay, I saw that some of the children didn't have some stationery and things, and it just showed that they didn't have much, but yet they're making the most out of their education.
That the resources and facilities that we have make a big difference, because like I would be looking at their sharing textbooks. If it was us back in London and they share textbooks and we had to like share pens and we couldn't buy it and stuff, our education wouldn't be as good as it is. It's not just having, it's even like small things, actually having like the teachers in the class to teach you. Yeah, they make a big difference that I don't think a lot of us realise.
When they don't have a teacher in their class, they don't mess around, they're like getting books out of their bag and they're learning themselves, whereas we would just sit and talk and stuff.
It's very interesting because if someone was giving out food at our school, then people would be fighting over it and taking it for themselves and being genuinely greedy and trying to get more than one piece and stuff like that, and whereas they're really reluctant to take the food and they share it around with each other and they don't come back for seconds and stuff like that. And even when I was outside and I didn't have my jumper, like loads of them were offering me their jumper, even though it's kind of obvious that they had less clothes than I did.
When teachers come in for like 2 or 3 hours a day, the students are still committed to come to school, and I think that's a really good quality about them. They're really determined and committed, and they value education and everything we do.
I think that because we have so much in London, we don't realise how useful they are and how we don't really appreciate it as much. But because they have less, they're willing to share it out with everyone. For example, the textbooks or the food, just like Felix gave an example of. And I think that's really important, and we should really consider that back at home.
When we were at the Nelson Mandela Museum, I saw like one of the little things on the side, and it was saying how this guy was offering, like he told Nelson to hold one side of his bread, his sandwich, and he was confused, and they pulled it. And he said like, oh, I don't have much, but what I do have I'll share with you. And I noticed like a lot of the people here are doing that too. Because like when we went to Magoba, and we were like handing out the sandwiches and stuff, there was like the first few people we were handing it out to, they're making sure that they all each got something. So like one of the older kids, so he was like handing it out so everyone had something. Yeah.
One thing I noticed was that the standard of teaching is still very high, considering that they don't have the resources that we would have, and also they focus on specialist subjects, things that will help them find a career in the future, careers that are lacking in people currently. So even though it might seem like they're functioning on a higher level than we are, they're only focusing on certain areas for long periods of time, whereas we have set times for set subjects.
Yeah. What I really noticed was their determination more than anything else. So they know that they don't really have, like, they can't afford to waste time or waste anything. So because of that, they really hold on to everything that they have and appreciate it as well. And like considering their resources and everything, it doesn't really affect them. So they still believe that they can be whatever they want to be, and that I find really inspiring, because even I sometimes I don't think I can achieve my goals or anything, them when I heard them saying, oh, I want to be an astronaut, or I want to be like, their ambitions like had no limits. And I just realised, like, even when you look at Mandela, he came from somewhere like this, and he still managed to make probably one of the biggest changes, like one of the biggest changes in modern history. So any of them can do that as well, and I realised that so can we. So I think that I had that they inspired me a lot. Yeah.
I've learned how similar we, us and the children are, because like when you hear other people speak of the children in Africa and things like that, they speak of them as if because they have lesser and alien species and that we have no things in common, and because they have less, they have to be the most determined people in the world and they have to work 10 times harder to be valued as much as we are. And people look at us as if we're so different, but all children who are 15 years old have things in common. And the language barrier doesn't really matter, because when you're in the classrooms, you can still joke around and you'll just really learn to see people just as you see yourself, rather than seeing them as, we need to help them because they're disadvantaged or they have less than us. It's more because we're both human beings and we're both similar, we should like see each other in that way and not as if like a charity case almost.
Okay, so the students, they have a positive attitude, which I find really good. Like, they have, as Elisa said, they have great aspirations and they want to go somewhere, I think, and even though they don't have as much, it doesn't limit them at all. Whereas in England, sometimes people are like, yeah, I don't know what I want to do, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but we have probably everything we need and we're not using it to our advantage. Whereas they don't have as much, but they're still trying to get somewhere, which is good. But also agreeing with Alex, we can't be looking at them like, oh, we're here and they're there, like we're on different levels, because at the end of the day we are the same people, we are the same age, and there's something we can use to bond with each other. And I think when some of us came here, we had this idea in our heads that we were kind of different. I don't want to say that we thought we were higher than them, but we did I believe that we thought of them in the wrong way, but now interacting with them and talking with them, we realise that we do actually have a lot in common, and it doesn't matter where you are in the world, you're still going to find that some sort of connection with a person.